The crown most beautiful day, Spain Princess Leonor and the lavished 2025 Denmark celebration. It was supposed to be another royal wedding, grand, formal, and familiar. But no one was ready for what unfolded on that spring morning in Copenhagen. Because when Princess Leonor of Spain walked down the aisle in Denmark in 2025, it wasn't just a wedding. It was the crown's most beautiful day, the day that brought Europe to a standstill and left Spain breathless with pride. This was more than ceremony. It was the rebirth of royalty itself, a perfect collision of tradition, love, and modern grace that no one expected, but everyone felt. For years, the world watched Leonor grow, from a quiet princess into a poised, confident woman ready to lead a new generation of monarchy. But as the bells of Christiansborg Palace rang that morning, something shifted. This wasn't the heir to Spain's throne anymore, this was a young woman in love, standing at the threshold of her own story. Spain celebrated like never before. From Madrid's bustling Gran Via to the quiet hills of Asturias, every screen glowed with one image: Leonor, radiant, stepping out of the royal carriage under the soft Danish sun. The cheers, the tears, the pride, it was as if the entire nation's heart was walking beside her. And yet, behind the glamour, behind the diamond tiaras and orchestral music, there was something profoundly human. A love story that had been quietly building, not in tabloids or headlines, but in moments of shared duty and mutual understanding between two royal hearts from different worlds. Leonor and Prince Christian of Denmark, two heirs, two futures, brought together not by politics, but by something far rarer in royal circles: choice. The day began with a silence that spoke volumes. The streets of Copenhagen shimmered with flags, red and white blending with Spain's golden red. Thousands lined the streets, yet when the carriage doors opened, a hush fell. Out stepped Leonor, in a gown that was instantly hailed as a masterpiece. Crafted by Spain's own fashion icon, Alejandra Valverde, the gown was a triumph of storytelling. The fabric, silk sourced from Granada, flowed like liquid light. The bodice, delicately embroidered with symbols of Spain's royal history, told the tale of generations before her. But the neckline, sharp and modern, was pure Leonor, confident, clean, unafraid to redefine. A 12-foot train trailed behind her, edged with lace that had once belonged to Queen Letitia's wedding veil. It was both a tribute and a statement, a reminder that while Leonor honors her mother's legacy, she also steps firmly into her own. And then there was the tiara, the fleur-de-lis, Spain's most iconic royal jewel. Passed down through centuries, worn by queens and princesses, yet never quite like this. Under the morning light, it seemed alive, refracting the sunlight into a halo around Leonor's face. When she entered the grand hall, all eyes turned to her groom, Prince Christian, visibly emotional, standing tall in full Danish regalia. As the organ played softly, he took a single step forward. That tiny, unscripted gesture, meeting her halfway, became one of the most shared royal images of the decade. From the first vow to the final kiss, the ceremony felt like poetry. Conducted in both Spanish and Danish, it symbolized two nations blending into one promise. Leonor's words, spoken with grace and trembling emotion, echoed across Europe: "Our crowns do not separate us. They remind us of who we serve, and who we love." Those words, "who we love," became immortal overnight. Within hours, they were trending across global platforms. Commentators called it the most emotional royal vow since Princess Diana. But this time, it wasn't tragedy or rebellion. It was balance, a union of love and legacy perfectly in sync with a new era. As the ceremony ended, the newlyweds emerged to a sea of sound. The palace courtyard erupted with cheers as bells tolled across the Danish capital. The carriage ride through Copenhagen became a royal dreamscape, sunlight gleaming off the gold detailing, flower petals raining from balconies, and the young couple waving to a world that couldn't look away. In Madrid, cathedral bells rang in unison. Streets filled with people waving both Spanish and Danish flags. There was laughter, music, dancing, as if Spain itself had found new breath, new purpose. And then came the reception, held at Amalienborg Palace, transformed into a garden of light. Every detail shimmered with meaning. The floral arrangements mixed Spanish olive branches with Danish lilies, symbolizing unity and peace. The dinner menu fused the best of both worlds, Iberian flavors with Nordic minimalism. And at the center table, Leonor and Christian, hand in hand, smiled like two people who had finally reached the place destiny had been leading them all along. The first dance silenced the entire hall. To a symphonic blend of Spanish guitar and Danish harp, the couple moved effortlessly, elegant, understated, magnetic. The moment they twirled beneath the glass chandeliers, the applause rose like a wave. Even the most stoic royals were seen wiping away tears. But amid the laughter, music, and champagne, it was the quieter moments that touched the world most deeply. When Leonor paused to hug her mother, Queen Letizia, whispering something only the cameras could guess. When King Felipe placed his hand on Christian's shoulder, a royal blessing not just between families, but between nations. Outside, the celebrations continued into the night. Fireworks lit up Copenhagen's sky in gold and crimson, Spain and Denmark, forever intertwined in brilliance. Across Europe, the images dominated screens: the royal kiss, the glowing palace, the unity of two cultures. What made this day so unforgettable wasn't just the luxury or the spectacle. It was the feeling that something shifted. That the old rules of monarchy, rigid, distant, untouchable, had finally softened into something human, relatable, almost cinematic. In that single day, Princess Leonor redefined what it means to wear a crown. No longer a symbol of power, but of purpose. No longer just tradition, but transformation. The following week, global fashion houses and magazines declared the event the most beautiful royal wedding of the century. Designers called it the Leonor effect, a revolution in bridal and ceremonial style blending elegance with emotion. Luxury brands rushed to replicate her simplicity, her symbolism, her restraint. Even the public mood across Spain changed. For a generation often disconnected from royal traditions, Leonor became a bridge, modern, relatable, real. She smiled without stiffness. She spoke with warmth. She was royal, yes, but she was also profoundly human. By the end of that night, as the royal couple waved from the balcony, lights sparkling behind them, and music echoing through the palace gardens, the image felt timeless. Spain and Denmark, two worlds, one story, celebrating not just a wedding, but a legacy reborn. It was more than beauty. More than spectacle. It was the crown's most beautiful day, not because of gold or jewels, but because of the love that lit it from within. And as history will remember, that day didn't just unite two royals. It united nations, generations, and hearts across the world, reminding everyone that even within the grandeur of crowns, the truest royalty shines through in love. Because on that April day in 2025, Princess Leonor didn't just wear the crown. She became it, luminous, graceful, unforgettable. And that was the moment Spain, Denmark, and the entire world realized royalty had just been reborn.